Very nice kirtan. I was writing my diary on the flying. The nicest type of reception is to be greeted by the holy name. So when I came to the airport, the holy name was there. It was very nice. It's the nicest reception one can have. I played this tape of Prabhupada. He gave a talk on this lecture, in this verse. It's very nice. Yat anudyansina yukta kama granti nibandhanam chidanti kovidastasya kona kuyanti kataratum. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knot of reactionary work or karma by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his messages? Please repeat. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? So this is a very nice verse. Intelligent persons, the word kovida means intelligent. So persons with sufficient kovida, intelligence, chidanti means to cut. So what do they cut through? Kama granti. Granti is in the heart. All the reactionary works of our karma that is in our heart. So they were to cut through this. And how they were to cut through this? Anudya. Anudya means by remembrance of Krishna. That's the weapon. The weapon is Smaranan, or remembrance of Krishna. That's the weapon by which they can cut through this, all the karmic reactions and the gunas. We have three modes of material nature: tamagun, rajagun, and sattvagun. And the word guna means like a rope that binds you up. So we're bound. And then we've got karmic actions, aparabdha karma, parabdha karma, kutu bij. These are all our karmas coming to us. We have so many lifetimes of karmic reactions coming to us. And then we have all these worldly vasanas. What does vasana mean? Impressions. The word vasana means impressions. So we have all these impressions deeply embedded in our consciousness from this lifetime, before we became devotees, and from our last lifetimes. So the example of vasana, impressions, is like if someone is laying cement, pathway, and you go and put your hand, you put the impression of your hand in that cement. You know, some people do that. Actually, I did that when I was at Govardhan Hill. Someone just laid some cement. I thought, so I wrote something. I thought I could come back next year and see it. So it goes hard, right? The cement goes hard. And that impression stays in there for years and years and years. So vasana means impressions. So what do we have? Vishaya vasana. Vishaya means worldly. We have these worldly impressions, cemented deeply within in our heart, almost like they're etched on the slab of our heart. Lusty impressions of envy and greed, deeply embedded in our heart. Now you have to get rid of those. It's not an easy thing. It takes time to get rid of these vasanas, these impressions which are deep in our heart. Sometimes these vasanas, these impressions come out in dreams when we're unconscious. They're deeply embedded in our hearts. So it takes some time for these to come out. And then our karmic reactions, we have those coming to us. And then the influence of the modes in material nature. So this is all like there within the heart. So how to cut through all of this? Chidanti means to cut. So we cut through this through remembering the Lord. Anuja. Anuja means remembrance. Prabhupada says, liberation automatically follows for one who constantly remembers the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead. This is because all the activities of the Supreme Lord, His Leela, are transcendental to the modes of material nature. So, remembrance. We have to try to invoke remembrance of the Lord. We have to smara. The word smara means remembrance. Was Prabhupada coined it Krishna consciousness, Krishna remembrance. So we have to try to develop this. We have to train our minds. In the beginning stage, in a neophyte stage, then we don't really have any higher taste. So simply it's an act of our intelligence. We use our intelligence, right? I am not going to think of worldly thoughts. I'm now going to force my mind to think of Krishna. I will force my mind to try to concentrate on the holy name. Yito yito nishkalati, manushtancham mashtaram. From whatever and wherever the mind wanders, bring it back under the control of the intelligence. So we use our sheer intelligence. This is from the stage of Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anatana Vritti, and Nishta. Up to the stage of Nishta, we're just using our buddhi bhorvika, our intelligence. We're just using our intelligence to block out worldly thoughts, to try to develop thoughts of Krishna. We use our intelligence. But then, when you get beyond the stage of Nishta to Ruchi, then you start getting a taste. And it becomes much more natural to think of the Lord. It becomes easier to think of the Lord. It's not like you have to, it doesn't require some intellectual adjustment, because now you have some taste. Naturally, you'll think about those things you're attached to. Isn't it? If you're hungry, what will you be thinking about? Food. Now, that doesn't need an intellectual adjustment. You don't have to, figure it out with your intelligence. You can't stop thinking of food. If you're thirsty, you're thinking of water. So, real devotion is when there's some real taste. You see, prior to that, we're simply using our intelligence, which is good, no harm. But beyond that, we start getting some taste. Stage of ruchi and stage of ashakti. Like in the stage of ashakti, you can't stop thinking of Krishna. But with us, it's around the other way. We can't stop thinking of anything but Krishna. It's very difficult for us to think of Krishna. We can count the moments in the day when we actually genuinely are thinking of Krishna. It's literally just a few moments. But when one gets into the stage of ruchi, and then mature ruchi is ashakti, you have like a real taste. A real taste. And then one can actually have smaranan. There can be some remembrance. So there's two ways remembrance comes. One is descending and one is ascending. One is aroha and the other is avaroha. Aroha is ascending. That means with one's intelligence. One forces one's mind, blocks out other thoughts, blocks out worldly thoughts, vishaya, and just focuses one's mind with one's sheer strength, on the holy name and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and Krishna's pastimes. This is the ascending process. This is inferior. But the descending process is when, by mercy, you get some mercy and you're able to remember the Lord's pastimes, or you have some taste of the holy name. And without any effort, things will suddenly start flowing. So this is avaroha. This is descending. Now this is coming by higher arrangement. This is coming by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of the Goswami, by the mercy of the Panchatattva, by the mercy of Radha and Krishna. It's a result of mercy from some superior personality, and they're bestowing it on you. And at that point, remembrance of Krishna becomes very easy, very natural. And even if there is disturbances around you, like an earthquake, or hunger, or thirst, it doesn't bother you. But the other way around, when you're trying with your intelligence, the slightest disturbance throws you off. Right? We've all experienced this. Sometimes you chant the Lord's holy name, and it's flowing. It's like it's natural. The words are just coming. You're not looking at your watch. You're not thinking what time it is. There's no tiredness. You're not even looking at the counter beads to see how many rounds you've done. And it's so ecstatic. It's so wonderful. And you begin to think, wow, I wish my japa period was a lot longer. Why is it ending so quickly? I could easily do 32 rounds today. And in your mind you start thinking, yes, 32 rounds or 48 rounds, no problem. This is so wonderful. I wish it was like this every day. And it's just flowing. It's mercy. So this is from superior. We're getting something. It's just flowing naturally. It's very easy to think of the Lord, to think of His form, His name. I think everyone, at some point or other, has experienced that. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And then the next day, it's like there's just no enthusiasm. The bead bag is so heavy. Even your mouth becomes heavy, your jaw becomes dislocated. And you can't even say the words, and it's not happening. And the japa period is just dragging too long. And you're looking at your watch all the time. It's just an intellectual struggle. But you have to go through it. So you can see the difference. Now what we want is the descending. We want that mercy. So when does it come? Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't come. It's not like you can turn the light on and off. You can turn the fan on and off. But this mercy you can't turn on and off. You may do everything right. You may get up early in the morning, take bath, do everything right, but it's just there's no taste. It can be like that. There's absolutely no taste. It can be as dry as a bone. So we have to pray for this mercy. This is what we want. It comes from the Nityasiddha devotees. It comes from personalities like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. It comes from devotees in that category, going all the way back to the 6 Goswamis, Panchatattva, the members of the Panchatattva. So we should pray to such personalities that we can have some taste for hearing Nam, Rup, Gun, Lila. Nam, the name, hearing the holy name, relishing the holy name. Rup, meditating on the form of the Lord. Gun, the qualities of the Lord. And Lila, the pastimes. This constitutes Smaranan. So we should pray with great feeling. And maybe it will come, maybe it won't come. But if we don't pray, it will never come. But if you pray, it doesn't mean it will necessarily come. Because this mercy is causeless. You understand? It's causeless. It may come, it may not come. But it will never come if you don't pray. You have to pray. So the more seriously, if you can pray with more feeling, then this can attract this mercy. So there has to be great feeling, great intensity, great enthusiasm, great determination. So this has been described by Rupa Goswami. Autsukya, utsahan nishtayandaya, samutkanta, enthusiasm. It's got to be there. If there's no enthusiasm in your hearing and chanting, your hearing and chanting becomes lifeless. There's no life. Right? It's dead. Just like a dead person. What is the difference between a dead person and a live person? The soul. So what is the difference between like live hearing and chanting and dead hearing and chanting? Enthusiasm. It's the life. It's the life soul of the devotee. That enthusiasm. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, if you have life, you can preach. It's that enthusiasm. So it is very important that we understand this and try to cultivate this and aspire for this. And it works by prayer. You pray for this. You pray to these personalities that one can become enthusiastic in one's practice of hearing and chanting. And then these personalities can bestow their mercy on you. Already mercy is there, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. There's so many people in South Africa. Why are we the chosen ones, so to speak? There's over 40 million people. How can we get to hear Bhagavatam and live in the association of devotees and take prasad? We've already got mercy, but we want more mercy. That's the nature of mercy. When you get a little bit, you want more, and more, and more. And then you go crazy for this mercy. This is Lord Chaitanya's pastime in Jagannath Puri. He just used to go crazy, mad for the mercy of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 18 years living in Jagannath Puri. He used to go so crazy he'd run up and down the beach. Like a madman, calling out for this mercy. And then he would live in the Gambhira. For 18 years he stayed in this Gambhira. Who's seen the Gambhira? Yes. So it's a small room. It's smaller than the smallest room any of you have in this temple in Cape Town. It's maybe about 6 feet by 10 feet Gambhira. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 18 years in this room. And this is where he experienced madness. Madness for love of Krishna. He would rub his face against the wall. And the devotees, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, they would lock him in the room so he wouldn't escape. On one occasion, he was chanting very loudly, and the 3 doors they locked. 3 doors they locked. And then Ramananda Roy went off, and Swarup Damodar and Govinda stayed outside the room, and they laid down on the floor. And they heard his chanting, because he wasn't able to sleep. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu day and night didn't rest. He was simply chanting, praying for this enthusiasm, this state of transcendental madness. And then all of a sudden his chanting stopped. And they could no longer hear it. So Govinda and Swarup Damodar, they lit a castor oil lamp. Those days there was no electricity and no torches. They lit one castor oil lamp. And they went in and they looked for him. They couldn't find him. He wasn't there. And then but the 3 doors were locked, but he wasn't there. So they couldn't figure out where he's gone. So they alerted the other devotees, Jagannatha Pandit, Sankara Pandit, Ramai Nandai, Paramananda Puri, and Brahmananda Bharati. And they formed a group and they went looking for him. This is late at night, 1, 2 in the morning, looking for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they looked everywhere. And they couldn't find him. Finally they came to the Singhadwara gate. This is one of the gates in the Jagannath Puri temple. There are many gates going into the Jagannath Puri temple. So they found him in one of the gates. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in a state of spiritual ecstasy. And these types of spiritual ecstasies are not even recorded in other scriptures. It's described out of a state of complete separation from Krishna. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exhibiting the mood of Radharani. This has been confirmed. Prabhupada writes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but having the attitude of Radharani. He writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, text 4. So he had the attitude of Radharani. So he's feeling separation from Krishna. And in that mood of separation, it's described all his limbs withdrew into his body. And he looked like a tortoise withdraws its limbs. He looked like a big pumpkin. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually looked like a pumpkin. Yeah. And he was lying there in a state of spiritual ecstasy. His eyes were going around, foam was coming out of his mouth. And it's described there were some cows from the Tolanga district. And these cows were licking him. And when they tried to move the cows away, the cows wouldn't go away. They wanted to stay there licking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can you imagine? Because they were showing affection and ecstasy towards the Lord by licking him. So when their tongue contacted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, love of God went into the cows. Just like the fisherman touched Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and immediately the fisherman, he came to the state of bhav, devotional service and ecstasy, and he went mad because he didn't know what it was. So these cows also, their tongues touched Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. And that was enough. All you had to do was touch. What does speak of? Touch Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You just see him. Especially in those latter day pastimes. Sesha Leela. You just see him. And love of God. Stage of bhav. Stage of ecstasy. Devotional service and ecstasy comes to you. Simply by seeing. There are verses which describe simply by seeing. Therefore the demigods used to take birth. And they would simply see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they would fall over unconscious in love of God. So these cows were also experiencing this ecstasy. So Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy tried to separate the cows. But the cows didn't want to. Finally, they took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they carried him back. They carried this form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to his house, the Gandhira. This is the house of Kasimishra. It's still there, it exists. House of Kasimishra, built 500-600 years ago. And there, Swarup Damodar started chanting very loudly into the ear of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I think he did it with a little bit more life than that. It's a little pathetic. Let's try it again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just imagine, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in front of you, right? And he's experiencing the 8 Sattvika Astika bhavs. He's experiencing the 33 Sanchari bhavs. He's experiencing the 13 Vibhavs. And you're seeing it in front of you. And you're trying to bring him around to external consciousness. It's called Bahidas, external consciousness. So I think you put a little bit more life into it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Right, something's coming. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he regained external consciousness. And immediately his legs came out, his hands came out. And he said, where am I? What am I doing here? What's happening? So then he started to relate to the devotees. He said, in my meditation, in my Smaranan, I heard Krishna's flute. I actually heard Krishna's flute. And I went to Govardhan Hill. And there at Govardhan Hill, I saw Lord Krishna and Radharani. I saw them both. And they went into a cave. And then some of the gopis, they turned to me and they said, would you go and pick some flowers? Would you mind picking some flowers for Radha and Krishna? So I was picking flowers. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I was picking flowers. And then I heard this sound. And you brought me all back to this place. So this is very interesting, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this mood, he's not Radharani. He's the servant. He's definitely not Krishna. He's not in the mood of Radharani, because he's seeing Radha and Krishna. So these are the types of mad ecstasies that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into for 18 years in Jagannath Puri. Very wonderful. So when these types of remembrances come, they become very powerful. Very powerful. So of course Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself. He's Krishna, playing the part of his devotee. So his stage of remembrance and the consequent reactions, which are the ecstasies, was so deep that no living entity can ever experience the same thing. There's no living entity can experience the depth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feelings of separation for Krishna. No living entity can, no jiva can. It's described only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radharani can experience the depth. It's called Madanaika Mahaprabhu, that only they can. But even though we can't, we can experience something. So we have to pray for this, and we have to pray very sincerely. So by meditating on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going to Shiva Sangam and having kirtan, by meditating on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Jagannath Puri, like I just described, it's chapter 14 on Chaitanya, all the other pastimes, tasting prasad, transcendental madness of Mahaprabhu, chapter 18 when he falls in the sea. This constitutes like remembrance of the Lord. And will make very rapid spiritual advancement. The best way to practice Krishna consciousness is in a mood of separation for the Lord. And these are the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially the latter day pastimes. They personify this mood of separation. So we may not be able to experience that because it's very high, but to meditate or to think or hear about pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, who was experiencing this separation, then that's going to be very, favorable for our bhakti. It's the most favorable way to practice bhakti. So we're so fortunate we're connected to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serving his mission by helping to attract conditioned souls. This is another one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desires, to bring in conditioned souls. So recently I got the Sankirtan scores. Well, I got some weeks ago, even I got when I was in India. Then I got the final printout. So whenever I got them, when I was in India, I got them right after the marathon. I got them Sikkim Unity Center. Just recently I got this newsletter. I went over the scores. I was looking with great interest. It was very wonderful to know so many books went out. And such a wonderful type of mood was created. Almost like a madness, wouldn't you agree? I think you all went through varying states of madness. Staying out till midnight, running around here and there, trying to escape the enemy's looks and so forth. This is like transcendental madness. It is transcendental madness. So you're getting a little taste. You're getting a very, very small taste. One drop, it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one drop of Ladini Shakti is enough to inundate this entire universe. What to speak of, Waterfront, Cape Town, or this particular universe. The entire creation, the entire material creation can be inundated with one drop of this Ladini Shakti. So you're getting a drop, and you take a drop, a millionth drop, a millionth drop, a millionth drop, and then you take a small sprinkle. And that's what you're getting. And that made you mad. Running around, distributing this and that in a frenzy. So this is wonderful. So we want to do this more. Louise? We want to do this more. Definitely. We want to do it more often. Not just in terms of distributing books, but in terms of our own chanting the holy name. We should be jumping around in a frenzy during the japa period. If we can. Of course, you can't put it on. It can't be artificial. It's got to be genuine. It's got to be real. One day it will be like that. One day it will be like that. But at our stage, we simply carry on practicing, patiently waiting, but also, praying for this mercy from Krishna and his parakals, his eternal associates. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gau Premanandi.